Hey everybody, Jason Black.
Hey,
Not
that's okay. We're live.
We're
So what's
live.
up, Jason?
Not too much.
Um, so let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. And I want to talk a little bit about the Michigan Conservative Coalition.
Yeah.
Now, that's a bunch of people who have decided that Garrett Solando is a chiropractor, and he's
Mhm.
decided that he's going to get a bunch of people who are basically pro-Trump to march on Lansing.
Well,
Now,
according to a story that I read, this protest is supposed to be bipartisan.
okay, it's supposed to be okay. Stop. Okay. Now check this out. So what we have are deaths of the COVID 1,768, the disease 27,001, and recovery 433. So
Mhm.
what this coalition is saying, listen, we understand a quarantine.
Right.
However, it's too restrictive. No in-state vacation residents, so you can't go up north. Okay, no motorboats. Now I heard you can't play golf. Okay, so they're believing that they're pandering more to the inner cities because this is not what traditional Black people ain't going up north. They don't have
Right.
no in-state vacation residents. They might have
I
some.
don't have a vacation home.
Okay, and what about the motorboat? Okay, all right.
You okay? Now
That's
some
just
of them are motorboats now. Wait a
yeah,
minute.
well that's true. But okay. And playing golf, that's marginal. And then the areas that have carpeting or flooring or furniture, you can't go into those. They're quarantining those off and limiting the number of people.
Right.
And what tripped me out is that he's gonna say, well, you know what? Michiganders know how to restrict themselves and that we don't need government intervention. What's surprising to me is that, and he says, I'm not a lawyer. Well, I am. Okay.
Okay.
I am a damn sure a lawyer. Okay. And under the Commerce Clause, the federal government derives its authority to isolate and quarantine. Under Section 361 of the Public Health Service Act, the Secretary of Health and Human Services is authorized to take measures to prevent the entry and spread of communicable diseases from a foreign country into the United States and between states, as well as under the police powers. The states have the right to protect health, safety, welfare of people in their borders. So she is doing this from the powers that were given to her.
Exactly.
Now, the thing about it is that they're saying, well, you know what? Michiganders know what's best. When I'm looking out, I'm seeing people, packed church services, and knowing I love the Lord, packed
Mhm.
church, playing basketball, going golfing. But how does it explain the 1,768 people dying, the 27,001 people with the disease? At some point, we have to be responsible as a government, okay? And Megan McCann need to sit down with her little bullying self, okay?
So
She
what
needs
did
to
she
mind her own
say?
damn business.
So what did she? What exactly did she say?
Well, basically, what she said was because, well, if she's pregnant.
Yeah.
And she says, if I wanted to go to Walmart, I couldn't even buy a baby car seat and in Michigan. And that's just totally not true. You
That's not
understand what
true
I'm
at
saying?
all.
She's a privileged woman
White woman.
white woman who's able to make these assessments about people and things in a state she doesn't even live in. And
Right.
it's just amazing to me how she would let that go viral. Can you see me?
Yeah, we can see you.
To allow me to go viral when hey, when there are 46 other states that are actually doing it.
Right.
Can you see me?
I can see you. I can hear you.
Okay, very good. Naomi, come here. I can't see you.
You can't see.
So,
Can you see me?
no, but what's your take on this?
So here's the thing. Let me play a clip with from yesterday's news from Channel 7. Here, take a look at this.
We're not getting out of our vehicles. We're not going to violate any of the social distancing rules, but we are going to exercise our constitutional right to protest.
So that's a clip from Channel 7 yesterday. And as you can see, they said that we're not going to get out of our vehicles up in Lansing. We're gonna follow social distancing rules and all of that. Okay, now I'm trying to upload a photo now. Give me 1 second while I do that. Let's see, what did I name it? But basically, while I get that photo, basically they did not do that today. They were all outside their vehicles. They were walking down the street. They didn't have any mask on. It was none of the, they didn't follow any social distancing rules. It was just like a petri dish for COVID.
And here's the situation. With the social distancing rules, the
Right.
government has the right to limit time, place, and manner. Okay,
Exactly.
so that's saying without dealing with content. This was content.
You schooled me on that weeks ago on 19 on 19.
So they have the right to be able to say you can protest, but you have to be able to protest at a certain time, 6 feet away from each other, etc. Now, if anyone contracts this horrible disease, they're going to blame her law for why they had to be out there and protest instead of staying at home doing what they're supposed to do in order to be safe around other people. You know what? There's a no-win situation.
It is.
And it's so unfortunate that they are picking on this state when the governor is really trying to protect the large area, which is in Detroit, which is in Macomb County, which is in Oakland County. And these people from up north are angry that the rules that they believe that are passed are restrictive in order to take care of them and not us.
And then you had some people who were just Trump.
Yes, it was just an opportunity.
That's it. And because I was trying to download a Detroit Press a video that they had. She asked him, "What are you here for?" And he was like, "I'm just here to support Trump. He's going to win."
Listen,
really.
and what it is that, and it's unfortunate because the minute that Trump says something against someone, they become the object of their anger. They just become the object of the anger. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's so unfortunate. You know what I mean?
So look at this photo. As you can see, they are outside their cars, and
look at this. Look at this.
They're not observing social distancing rules at all. You see people, they don't even have a mask on at all.
But see, let me say this to you. And I have a lot of respect for the governor. But if they had been me, I would have had every one of them arrested. If you don't have your mask on, not arrested, you're going to be ticketed.
She should have called on.
But what she's so concerned about is the appearance of how people were perceived. And what it is, they wanted to come up there to go to jail so that they could be dragged around. But I would have just said, "Excuse me, every single one of you don't have your mask and you're violating, you're gonna get a ticket." Right. And it's so unfortunate that they're pushing this issue so that it can be some type of example to show how out of control states are when they choose to protect their citizens. And let me say something about this restrictive order, which I don't think it is restrictive. It is restrictive in order to make sure that people are that they're safe and one life lost is too many.
Right.
The sad thing about this all is that they said, well, what about small businesses? I'm losing money every day, but I had to make a choice. Am I willing to sacrifice my life to make some money? And what if the people who come into my business as a small non-essential business, what if in fact these are people who are already, they're carriers, but they're not infected? They're infecting the community, but they're carriers of it. There was a young man who recently was going around cutting people's hair, died, went to somebody's house who was a carrier of it, did not have the symptoms whatsoever, and he came down with the illness.
Yeah. Can you talk to me about more about the law that authorizes to take measures to prevent entry and the spread of communicable diseases? Like what?
Well, what it is that every state has police powers, and their police powers are to protect health, safety, and welfare of people in their boundaries. So it's derived from our Constitution. Every state has police powers. And so what it is that you can pull from that authority, your ability to regulate. But you know, one of the things I do want to deviate a little bit, and I know we're kind of everywhere, and this is kind of exciting because it's the first time.
Yes.
I've been getting, and I gotta say this, I have been getting so many calls on people who have COVID-19 symptoms or afraid of getting, who are incarcerated.
Right.
If you are in the Michigan Department of Corrections, and say, for instance, I committed, say, some type of crime with a gun, and I'm in prison, and I then come back to Wayne County because there was a charge that I was accused of. You can only be released back to the Michigan Department of Corrections. You cannot be released in the community.
Wow.
So let me give you an example. I have a child, Naomi, and Naomi visits my mother. My mother, even though Naomi is with her, does not have the authority to allow her to go to Disney World without asking me. That's the same thing. Just because the person is incarcerated in Wayne County, the authority belongs to the Michigan Department of Corrections.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it is only if that particular prisoner or detainee or prisoner, I mean, you know, person in jail, is displaying COVID-like symptoms and they have not been adjudicated, that you can do a motion for release based on that. But if you've been convicted, you can't. And unfortunately, there are so many people who are calling me saying that some lawyers or someone contacted them to do a release, and they're going to do it for a couple $1,000, and do a clemency motion. Now, in order for them to do a clemency motion, the prosecutor got to respond. So yes, it's legal for me to write it, but if there's no response, they can't do nothing about it. And the unfortunate part about it is that people are spending thousands upon thousands of dollars in order to do these motions that basically are going nowhere. Because as you know, there are only limited number of staff in the prosecutor's office. I know for one show, I know for one thing, Kim Worthy and none of these other prosecutors are at their job. And they're not going to be looking over no clemency motion. Right. And all I'm saying to say is be very weary of Trojan horses, okay? Because listen, it's the smell taste. If it don't smell right, it ain't right, okay? And the issue is, yes, you can do it legally, but what they gonna do? All it's gonna do, that money going in their pocket. Ain't nobody gonna get released like that. And it's just so unfortunate for people to call me with an expectation to say, you know what, we want to know, what do you think about this? Well, with clemency, there has to be a response by that prosecutor, the prosecutor, not your boy or girl prosecutor.
And who is
And
that?
then it has to go to the governor. Right now, the governor worried about all them damn people outside of that Capitol, walking around close to each other, trying to get rid of her, talking stuff. She's not concerned about that.
Right.
But if a person were to have a family member who has not been adjudicated, okay, and they're charged with something, but say, for instance, they have some type of a breathing problem, they have asthma, they have sickle cell, they have some type of disease that would make them more susceptible. There's no guarantee that they can get out, but those motions would be appropriate under those circumstances. You know what? This is our first time doing it. You look wonderful. My camera is bootleg, like, but anyway. But listen, I just want to say this. We are getting rave reviews. People are saying that they like it. First of all, Blair Carrington, let me tell you something. It's probably nothing I do that she don't like, and I love her for that. I mean, she's just such a supporter of me, and I thank her so much. But I see a lot of people on here, and I'm excited about this because this is information that we need to share. And I'm just so outdone about and do you know that this online Michigan Conservative Coalition has over 300,000 Facebook members?
Wow.
But I come to tell you, I got blue on. Can y'all see my blue? I stand with that woman in the blue. Okay, and you do too. So guess what?
And that was correct.
You can bring your army. Okay, you can bring your army, but we got another army. Because what she's doing is making that number, instead of 1768, it could be 3,000 or something. And let me tell you what she said. Who's going to open up this government is the epidemiologist. It's not going to be business people, because she doesn't want to limit. She's not going to do that under this pressure. I got a lot of respect for that woman for doing it. And if just one life is saved or a couple, I'm going to tell you, social media was an outlet to me. I love it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not spending money. I'm interacting. I'm meeting different people. I can't even go on it anymore. Looking at the deaths, looking at the sickness, looking at people I know who have impacted. It's devastating. And when I see that, I'm saying, if it just saves one more person from going on there saying, I lost my brother, I lost my sister, I lost my best friend, I lost my mama. Let me tell you something, it's worth it.
Right.
So for those people up yonder, y'all need to just go ahead, Mr. Garrett Salandio, or because Betsy DeVos is planning one too.
For sure.
Make sure I'm sorry, she was a co-sponsor today. Make sure you know the law. Okay, just make sure you know the law, okay? Because your girl here is trying to put you on the law. And so we just want to let you know what's going on. So what else? This is exciting. Look,
so
and you can find it, Jason.
I want to acknowledge Claude Ware for saying, glad you're okay, Jason. I am okay, and I'm glad I'm okay too. Thank God, because it was a struggle.
Can you tell us, can I ask this question? I know you think, really, is it really that painful?
It's excruciating painful. It's excruciating. It's like unbearable. Someone said, a friend of mine said, it felt like being shot. I don't know what it feels like to be shot, but only thing I can describe it as is being stabbed in the back with a knife, and it's just rammed around. That's what it felt like for me.
I don't know what it's like to be stabbed in the back physically, but I sure know what it's like to be stabbed in the back figuratively. So, okay, I'll put blood all on me.
I think we all have experienced that.
And let me say this to you, Jason. I know you. You have a high tolerance for pain.
Yeah.
You're not one that immediately runs to the doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, my fingernail. So what made you even go to the doctor?
Well, it was like a 3 week process. Even
3 weeks.
it was 3 weeks. It was 3 weeks. It started with I was fatigued, and I'm like I couldn't understand. I'm like, okay, maybe it's just a cold. So I immediately called my doctor, and I
Hmm.
said I'm fatigued, and I don't know what to do. He said, okay, well I'm prescribe you a Z-Pack. So he prescribed me the Z-Pack. And after he prescribed me the Z-Pack, I was taking that for a couple of days. It was 6 days for the Z-Pack. The third day I took it, I felt better. I felt fine. So I was thinking at that point, like, oh, it must have been like a bug or something like that. So not even thinking about COVID.
Let me ask this question. Did you have a temperature?
I'm not sure because I tried to go out and find a thermometer, but when I went to the stores, there were none in the stores.
And I asked you, did you get one? You said you got a baby one.
I did, but that was week 3. You got to remember this. This was 3 weeks. This whole COVID-19, my experience with it was 4 weeks. It's 4 weeks of pain and 4 weeks of sickness for me. And I'm
Wow.
in the process of talking to my doctor at the same time. So
Uh-huh.
like first week I had fatigue, and then after I had the fatigue, I started taking a Z-Pack, and then while I was taking the Z-Pack, I had diarrhea. So I'm just thinking,
Okay.
well, maybe that's the side effect of the Z-Pack. Um, I did end up having a fever, which I don't know. A fever is when your body gets really, really hot, extremely hot, to the point where you almost passed out. Like that happened to me twice, and I didn't know that was a fever. So that happened to me the first week, and it happened to me like the second week. But it happened like usually when I was asleep. I'll be asleep, and then I'll wake up and go to the bathroom. And when I was in the bathroom after I got done, my body got extremely hot, like I was on fire. And then everything got dim. So then I got scared. I got scared and I didn't know what to do. So I think the adrenaline brought me back.
And then you said, tell us about your experience when you went to the doctor. I mean, you didn't want to go to the emergency room. What was that like?
So that was week 3. The pain was so unbearable. My doctor had put me on a small pain reliever and a muscle relaxer, but that wasn't working anymore. So I decided to go to emergency. I'm like, okay, this pain is just unbearable. So I go to Beaumont Dearborn, and they have everyone like if you go to emergency, they have everything barrel down to get to the emergency, and they're screening everyone that comes through emergency. So I get to the lady at the front, and she says, "What?" She said, "You're here for testing." I said, "I'm not here for testing. I'm here to get admitted because I'm having excruciating back pain, and I need to be seen by a doctor." And she was like, "Well, okay, well you can be seen, but I just need to make you aware that COVID-19 is all in ER, and you're more than likely to contract COVID-19 by going to ER." So now I'm like in a situation whether I go home with extreme back pain or go to be admitted to ER with the possibility of contracting COVID-19 and dying. So I'm like, okay, what do I do? So I'm like, I'm not about to die. I'm not about to risk my life for COVID-19, not knowing that I already contracted it already. So I decided to go home. Went home, called my doctor, and I was like, okay, doc, what you prescribed me ain't working. So he prescribed me a even bigger pain medicine, Tylenol 3 with codeine. So that started working for the first 3 days, and I was good. The pain was subsided. I would take it every 6 hours, and then I was cool. But it got towards the weekend, and the pain medication was supposed to last 6 hours, but started to last for 4 hours now. So now I'm faced with a dilemma: do I take this medication again? Do I take more codeine in 4 hours and maybe possibly overdose? Or what do I do? It's the weekend. I can't call my doctor. I'm not going back to ER because I'm not about to catch this COVID going to ER. And she scared me crazy. So I just didn't want to go. So
Mm.
now I'm waiting to get to Monday. I'm doing everything I can to mend the pain with getting the heating pad, taking hot showers, trying to go to sleep all day just to not experience the pain. So my Monday finally comes. I called my doctor, and he says, I know you're scared to go to ER, but you really need to go to ER. And I said, well, I don't want to go. He said, but this is what we can do. I can send you to an outpatient x-ray. So I decided to do that. I did that, get there, they do the x-ray. And after they do the x-ray, the radiologist tells the tech who comes into me, hands me a piece of paper and says, your doctor's going to be calling you shortly. So I'm like, okay, what, did you see anything? She's like, well, the good thing is it's the bacterial thing and not the viral thing. So I'm like, so you're saying I got COVID? I don't have COVID? I'm just, I just was confused.
Because we know that COVID is not a bacterial.
It's viral. It's viral. So I just ended up, I said, whatever. I'm just going to walk out.
And she said whatever too, because she was lying, but go ahead.
Exactly. So then once I got out, my doctor immediately called me and he says, you need to go to emergency right now. He said, you have fluid all in your right lung. So you need to go right now. But well, he doesn't know if it's fluid or not, but the x-ray only shows like a cloudiness, and it was all in my right lungs.
Oh my God.
So they don't know what it is. They just see a substance in my lungs.
So this was ongoing, going and coming for the last 3 weeks, basically.
Yeah, the 3 weeks leading up to my 4th week in being hospitalized.
And I'm gonna let you say the word. The medicine that they use to treat you.
Oh my God! I did not even know that they gave me hydroxychloroquine, which the brand name is called Plaquenil.
Okay.
They started giving it to me when I was in the ER. And when I was in the ER, I was in excruciating pain. They gave me morphine twice. So they couldn't give it to me again because I went into pain again. So I was in ER probably from 4 to 10 p.m. So they gave me like a 2-hour antibiotic drip as well. And like a 30-minute drip of something, I don't know, but they gave me, which probably could have been the Plaquenil or, so I don't know. Because I'm out of it.
Well, right. And what it is that the doctors basically, depending on your level of intensity, it's under what they have called compassionate care.
Yeah.
And compassionate care is giving you medicine that has not been screened by the FDA for that particular use for COVID. And so as a result, yeah, hey girl, hey Vonda, Jason, glad you survived. Yes, I said both of you safe. You know me. Okay, thank you. Love you, my girl. Miss you. Oh, and I just want to just give a shout out to so many people who are coming on here saying, here it's coming up now. It just was coming on my phone. But anyway, one of the things that I've seen that I've read about that they do in combination is what they gave you in addition to the Z-Pack. The Z-Pack. So what it was, in addition to the fact that they also gave you the pain medicine, what seems to have medicinally, because we're going to get to the faith part, because we know God was in the midst of that. That's all I know.
Okay.
Okay. But medicinally, it was as if they gave you all 3 treatments separately.
Right.
As a result, it started to dissipate, but it would increase, but it would dissipate, because normally they give you as a cocktail, and it's the hydro whatever, and it's and it's a Z-Pack as well as the pain medicine. So they normally give that to you as a cocktail under their compassionate care, so that allegedly it has been reducing the number of serious COVID cases. But let me ask this to you, and listen, for those of you who know Jason, know of Jason, let me tell you, for those of y'all that know Jason, his faith is this big. My God. His faith What was it like for you as a young man to being hospitalized to say, did you ever think I'm not gonna come out?
Well, this is my first time ever being hospitalized in my life.
What? Okay.
Time ever in my life. But I went in. I did not have. I didn't fear at all because I knew I was coming out. Like even before, I just knew this situation was going to be my end. I just knew I had that feeling, so I wasn't worrying. So it wasn't a test of my faith experiencing COVID. It was just more so it's bringing me to a place of really acknowledging where I am in my life and really assessing where I am and where I'm trying to go. So it had me really doing some soul searching to figure out, okay,
During the time that you were sick,
yes,
or
during the time.
Okay.
Well, more so in the hospital, being in the hospital, because by that time they were regulating the pain with uh, pain medicine.
Morphine.
And I was comfortable in the hospital. 6 days I was in the hospital, so I had time to really reflect because all I can do, I was secluded in a room by myself. I couldn't walk down the hall or anything like that because they had us all secluded on that floor.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to. I'm not really watching TV like that because I'm not a big TV watcher. Period. Anyways, I'm just sitting there most of the time, just sitting there reflecting. So I just reflecting on like what I can do to prepare my career, and that's really and even not only that, but what can I do in ministry?
Yes.
What can I do in ministry? Because for a long time I've been sitting idle by in ministry and just singing in the choir.
But you sing,
really,
but that's part of your ministry though.
yeah, it is.
Right?
Yeah, singing is part of it, but that's not all I can do.
Okay.
And I need to do more because I've just been sitting there. I mean, just singing, which I love to do that, but I need to do more. And that's what this really experience has really taught me.
Were you able, or did you go on social media at all during that time?
It was hard for me to go on social media because I was still in pain a little bit and I couldn't laugh. Like I couldn't, if I laughed, it would bring the pain back, excruciating, even with the pain medicine I was on.
But what about when you did go on and you saw people who were in mourning or they were in fear for it? Did that make you feel some kind of way like, oh my gosh? Can you tell us?
I was a little sad for a minute to watching like my music president for my church, well not for my church, but
yes. Can you tell us about that for those people that didn't listen to the show Saturday? Who was this woman and what was her relationship?
Sandy Brown. Her name is Sandy Brown, and she is our jurisdictional music president. So she's over all the choirs, all the choir members in our jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction is made up of, I don't know how many churches is in our jurisdiction, led by my Bishop J.G. Beard. I don't know how many churches are in our jurisdiction, but she presides over all the music department for all the jurisdiction. So yeah, so she loses her husband, who dies, and then she loses her son 3 days later. And that's her family. That's her immediate nucleus family.
And tell us about, this was her only child and she didn't think she was going to have.
That was her only child. But the crazy thing is, like, her strength in the process of losing her husband and then her son back to back, was just, I mean, I was awestruck. Just watching her.
But you're suffering then too. So this is kind of compelling.
I'm in a hospital watching the funeral. In my hospital bed, I'm watching the funeral because she had to go live because you can only have so many people at the funeral. So she went live, and
she was there.
Yeah, huh?
She was actually there with her husband. Is that correct?
Yes, the bodies. With the bodies. She was there with the bodies. It was her and about maybe 3 other people that I could see from the Facebook Live stream. But this woman walks in the funeral home. She wore bright colors because she said that's what her husband wanted her to wear. She told her, she said, honey, I know you want me to wear some bright colors. I know you would want me to wear this because this is what you would want me to wear. And she stood strong. All the press, national press was there because that's extraordinary. That just doesn't happen often like that. And this woman, she even before the funeral, she was strong. And she would tell us, she sent us a message in our jurisdictional Facebook group, and she said, "I'm holding on, and God has not failed me, and I'm strong, and we're moving forward, and we're still going to do the work of the Lord." So this woman is still ministry minded.
Wow,
even through all of
that is amazing.
Yeah.
And you know what? And one of the things that people, for those people who are on the fence in their belief, if you think that being a Christian and really believing in God means that you're in a bubble and nobody can touch you, honey,
Right.
that's wrong. You better go do something else. You better, because that's when you're going to get tested and tracked. Okay?
Exactly.
My introduction to holiness was like, wait a minute, hold on for a minute. I thought you were supposed to, get prosperity, power, all of that good stuff. I didn't know about this kind of stuff. But that is the true test of faith.
Absolutely.
To be able to say and not say, I blame God for this.
Right.
Hey, God, look at what I do. I'm faithful. I'm over my whole jurisdiction musically. I tithe. I'm married. I'm a good mama. This shouldn't have happened to me.
Right.
And it is so commonplace for so many people to feel that even in their respective faith or whatever, well, God failed me because he took my mama. God failed me because he took my sister. God failed me because he took my husband. And God failed me because he took my child. And there's a situation where both of them are gone. If that woman was tomorrow to say, you know what, I can't do this no more, deuces, I got to do something else. I don't know if people could really blame her. But the fact of the matter, when the world was watching her, to say, my God did not fail me.
Right.
And my God will give me the courage to go on.
Right.
And I know that my loved ones, to be absent from the body is to be present with Christ. I know they're in a good place. Yep. And to be able to walk up right and to be able to touch her husband and because I was wondering why she had them bright colors on. Yep. And to be able to be that strong when the world was watching her.
Right.
A story right out of the book of Job. I agree with you, Claude. Let me tell you this, that is. But that is when our faith is tried. So I'm telling you all, listen, the more you try to do right, the more challenging that you are going to be challenged by the world. But that's really not the true test of a Christian or a believer. Not the test, but the victory. And the victory ain't always defeated. Sometimes the victory is just being able to walk with your head up high in spite of it.
Right.
In spite of it. Yeah, I lost my baby. I lost my husband. Yes. But in spite of that, I'm going to hold my head and I'm going to keep praising my God. I'm going to tell you, that is a testimony. And that leads us in, I think, to our last story. And I'm going to let you do that.
Go there. I have to play a 30-second commercial.
Accidents happen when you least expect it. What counts is who's going to be there fighting for you if you or your loved one has been seriously injured in a traffic-related accident. Call me, Vonda Evans, today. As a former judge of over 20 years, I know firsthand what it takes to win. Let my team of affiliated, experienced lawyers who have recovered millions of dollars for injuries just like you've encountered get the money you deserve. Call me, Vonda Evans, today.
Yeah.
Wow! Jason is the bomb. This is our premiere, so we're working things out. So thank you so very much for that.
Yeah.
And you know, like I said, you just said, I mean, this is just so phenomenal. And what I know, Jason, is that because for you do not know, Jason is a journalist and he's a photojournalist. And this social media, what he's able to do in his journalism goes right hand in hand. But the thing about it is, Jason, that you know, I'm getting feedback from people that are saying this is so informational because there's still things that you've said that I've said that
Right.
absent a post, we wouldn't be able to communicate to the people who are watching
Right.
about these issues and to
Mhm.
have this discussion and then to have them a part of it. So that's good. And we see all your comments. We see Erica Lee and Rashonda, and we see all of you. But this last segment is very special and dear to you. And without further ado, I'm gonna
Well, basically, is we want to do a recap on the Clark Sisters, the movie that aired this past Saturday
yes.
on time. I'm so excited for them.
Yes.
I know them personally because I'm a member of one of the sisters, her husband's church. So I've been there for 18 years. So just and
18
even before
years.
I've been at Great Emmanuel teaching for 18 years. Yeah.
So you were with them when they was on Southfield Freeway.
No, I wasn't there when they were on Southfield Freeway. I came when they were in that interim building at Bailey Cathedral. So
Okay.
they were renovating the new building.
Okay.
So yeah, but you know, I've known them all my life, you know. And yeah, so just watching the film, the biopic was for me, it was something that I've always wanted for them because I've
And what do
always
you mean? You wanted for them?
well, you know,
Explain
for
that.
instance, when gospel music did that mainstream crossover like in the 90s,
Okay.
and you will always see like the Winans, Kirk Franklin, and individuals like that, CC Winans, Yolanda Adams. They would be all on the mainstream networks and mainstream television shows. But you didn't hear from the sisters. You didn't really see the sisters like that during that time.
No.
And I wondered why I always wonder like, well, these girls can sing. Now Kirk Franklin and everybody, BB Wine and CC Wines, all of them, they're talented in their own right. I'm not taking that from them, but at the same time, why aren't the sisters there on that in that space as well during that time? But you know, God always have a time and place and season for everything. It just
Okay.
time and season, but now is their season, and
Baby.
the biopic had 2.7 million viewers. 2.7 million viewers.
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, it's a lot of
And
people.
and you know the thing about it is, and I used to always tell people, and I still do, planting may be the same, but harvest is different.
Right.
And so many times, you know, we will plant, you know, you plant with your children and some will go straight to school and some may take 10, 15, 20 years to get what they do, but they get what they gonna get done. And that is that planting is the same, but harvest is different.
Right.
Who would have thought that in the midst of a pandemic, this movie was going to come out and say, listen,
Right.
you better have faith. Wait a minute. Let me tell you something what I love about it too. It had appeal to say, just because you follow God, don't mean you can't have diamonds, you can't have red bottoms, you can't have, but you can't worship it.
Right. See?
And it's okay to have it, but you can't worship it. And in this pandemic, when we have many have just lost their faith or haven't found it and looking to the world for it, this was a beacon of light.
Yeah.
And it was a beacon of light to those that didn't follow the Clark sisters, didn't know about the Clark sisters, but said, you know what? I just need to be something that's uplifted. I need something that is going to motivate me and something that is going to bring me to the Lord. Because let me tell you something. what was amazing to me, that Lifetime was willing to put something like this on their roster. That was nothing but God.
Nothing
Because
but
God changed the heart of the king. All
That's
right?
That's right.
Okay. And the author, the producer was saying that for so long, for I think over 15 years, it was something she wanted to do. She couldn't get an audience.
Right,
But
right.
somehow the
Dr.
Lord
Holly
led her.
Dr. Holly Carter, she's been working, producing for them for years, trying to get this going.
But it wasn't a season.
And it wasn't their season. And it wasn't time.
And it wasn't time. And that then it came together with Queen Latifah, Elliott.
Mm-hmm.
But who would have known it was the beacon of light of hope
Absolutely.
to a world that's dark?
Dealing with a bad pandemic.
Oh, let me tell you, nothing but God.
Nothing.
But let's talk about the take off. You know, we talked about what we thought was significant. And here I am, you know, seeing Dr. Maddie Moss Clark,
okay,
48 years old, in 1973, with 5 kids, say, guess what? I'm going to trust God. I'm going to trust God that he's going to make a way. That she left her husband, her abusive husband, in an environment that was just so not accommodating of that, with children, with basically only God on her side, and said, you know what, I will not be stopped, and I am going to be a voice, and I am going to train my children to go out here and to continue to do the Lord's work. When I saw that, that was powerful. That was something that you didn't do whether you were in the church or not in church at 48 years old.
Right, right.
Some people today, oh, I'm too old to leave them. I didn't endure this so long. This woman, let me say this, I did not know her personally, but you can tell a woman of integrity and of standards.
And a woman that didn't play no games. She kind of reminds me of my grandmother.
Please share your story about your grandmother.
My grandmother is from Brinkley, Arkansas. She was actually born 3 years after Maddie Moss was born. Maddie was born in Selma, Alabama. I think she was born. So they're both from the South. And they both were born in that era in the 20s, the late 20s. Dr. Moss was born in 1925, and my grandmother in 1928. So they all was close to, you know, picking crops. And their grandfathers and their grandfathers were doing that. So that mentality of the not only the Black individual, but the Black woman at that time.
But wait a minute, let me tell y'all who his grandmama is. Alma Dairy Whip. Now, I don't know, listen, when I met Marlon, okay, he said, I got to take you to this place. They got the best burgers and the best lemon you've ever tasted. I said, what? So it's on the corner of Richton and Dexter.
Linwood.
Richton and Linwood. And I'm like, that place?
In the hood.
Wait a minute. They put the fries and the burger in a brown bag, okay?
Grease sweeping through the bag.
Baby, listen, my daughter, Lauren, is 28. Lauren said, Mama, I can taste that lemon ice today. Yeah. My little baby, Naomi, will be 22. She said, Mama, that's the best thing. She said, do Jason know how to do that? But what was your experience? And may I share, and you're going to share too. This was a time when you had Young Boys Incorporated all up and down Linwood. Them gangs selling that dope. And had anybody ever, and that business never was shut down.
You know, my grandmother, she was definitely a prayer warrior. So she would go outside with holy boldness on Linwood and Richton.
Okay.
Go outside and praying. and start speaking in tongues.
What?
Praying on a corner. And it's like between like the 80s, the late 80s and the 90s was the big drug epidemic. So, and it would just at that time, you know, the drugs was flooding that community. So they would come to her Dairy Queen to eat.
Drug users, drug sellers,
She,
and people that live in the neighborhood. And you
right.
know what? She didn't treat nobody no different.
No different. Not at all. But that's just I think I want to say that I think the woman that was born in the 20s that experienced what they experienced in growing up, and they were born in the South, they had this tenacity to do whatever it took. My grandmother only had an 8th grade education.
Wow.
Yes, she only had an 8th grade education. But I think they just had this tenacity to get things done. And my grandmother, she was a taskmaster. So when I see the video of Dr. Mattie Myers Clark throwing shoes, it was like, it reminded me of my grandmother at all. I mean, just remind me of my grandmother. And
what was the part of the movie that you said that touched you the most?
So I'll play the clip first, and then we can talk about it. Let's just play the clip.
Denise, you can sing a run from Detroit to DC, but that's not your anointing. Your anointing is a life you live. What you do when you're not on stage, what you do when people ain't clapping, what you do when ain't nobody looking but God. You can't be up there singing songs about sanctification and consecration. You may have more spirit than anybody. And you living a ragged life. I can't let you do that.
But Mama, you gotta understand.
Are you hungry?
Yes, ma'am.
See, that's how my grandmother was. My grandmother was like that. Like she'll be having a conversation with you, and once she was done what she was saying, and you had something else to say, you know, ain't nothing else to say. You hungry? So what that clip right there, to me, is what really defines what this biopic was about. Because Dr. Mattie Myers Clark, she instilled in her girls to be anointed. Not just talented singers, but you got to have an anointing. And as you heard her say, an anointing is how you live when nobody's looking at you.
Okay.
It's how you live when it's just you and God.
Amen.
That's a true anointing.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And you know, the thing about it is that was so impressive to me. She got up there and she said, listen, I'm saved, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost, speaking in tongues, and satisfied. And what that led me to believe is that just because a woman makes a decision that she is going to live holy, that she ain't going to be sitting around having her legs open, having her heart broken, having her pockets ran, that she's decided, I'm not living like that. And I am not going to throw my pearls to swine, that I'm going to live upright. And that if that means that I got to trust God to pay my bills, if I got to trust God when late in the midnight hour when I'm lonely, I got to do that because I'm satisfied. It wasn't until I became an older woman that I began to understand that satisfaction comes from within. It's not from without. It's not the man, it's not the woman, it's not what they do to you, it's not what they say to you, but it's your inner peace, your inner feeling of, you know what, of wholeness. As women, that embraced that. And she was able to say, at this time, at this season, I'm sowing into my children, okay? Because that is my legacy. I'm not running after no man. I'm not trying to be mean, to have my heart broken. I'm focusing on building a legacy for my children so that they will bring people like Jason, people that she never could see, into holiness
Right.
because of what the tree she planted. And the tree that she planted and the roots that came from that were the Clark sisters.
Right.
And so that let me know that that was confirmation to me and to some of the women who, may be around my age. Stop allowing people to hurt you, to use you just for the sake that you got a man. There's so many women out here. I can't wait till the quarantine is over with. So what, you can get played and betrayed. I'm not even for that. Stay wherever you at on the quarantine. But it's so sad. And there were so many issues. It was not only talking about godliness, it was talking about women's independence, and it was talking about a legacy.
Right.
And it was intertwined, and it was so powerful that even when I watched it again, I was able to see different segments, different ideas brought together, even if you're not Christian. You know what I'm saying? You can look at this and say, you know what? I can understand what her challenge was and how she went forward. But to the Christian man or woman, let me say this to you. That was a stellar
Absolutely.
example of what staying that course is all about. And some people feel they got to choose. Well, if I'm into the church, I can't have this. I can't. No, you can have it. You can't worship it.
Right.
Listen, this has been so exciting. So, listen, we've decided that we're going to start doing this every Wednesday at 6 p.m. And it's an opportunity for us to talk about different issues and to bring Facebook into social media into play as far as what we're doing. I hope that you've enjoyed it. I was trying to, the lighting, see Jason over there with I've a Mac Pro and all of that big time.
No, I know how to find my lights.
Okay, baby. Hey, listen, I'm still looking for my light. Okay, but I'm trying to, baby. I'm trying to find my light too. But what it is that, we hope that you really enjoyed the show. It was wonderful. It was.
And this hour went by so quick.
Oh my God. You know what I was thinking? What are we going to talk about? But every time we get together, we always end up talking about a lot of different things. So what's your takeoff?
On what?
On the show. We got 3 minutes left.
Enjoyed this. I mean, this is a new thing we decided to do. I'm just excited to see what the conversations we're going to have. And as the viewers can see, it's very interactive. You can comment and we'll post your comments and we'll acknowledge your comments as well. This is an interactive show.
As well as small business people.
That's right.
If you have a commercial and you would like it to be broadcast on Vonda and Jason Live, you can contact Jason at where?
JudgeVonda@yahoo.com. Email JudgeVonda@yahoo.com.
And what Jason does is that he monitors that and he'll be able to get back with you to find out what it is that you'd like to do. If you want us to mention your product, if you even have a commercial that you'd like to be aired, such as mine was today, please contact us and let us know. We'd love to do it. But the reason we're doing it, more importantly, is really for us to be able to impart education, faith, hope, and love.
So let's play another 30-second commercial.
Hi, I'm attorney Vonda Evans of Vonda's Law. Over 20 years ago, my career started right here as a former prosecutor and a judge. And as a practicing attorney, I'm still here fighting for your rights. If you or your loved one has been charged with a federal or state crime, let my team of affiliated experienced attorneys fight for you. As a former judge and prosecutor, I know what it takes to win a case. Don't gamble with your freedom. Call Vonda's Law today.
So we have 30 seconds left on our show. Anything else you want to say?
I am so, listen, that was just tremendous. And you know what? one of the things, I've got a heart for the people, and so do you. So you got 10 seconds. What are you
10
gonna say,
seconds
Jack?
left. You know, I'm just excited to see where we're gonna go from here, and I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about the future.
But before we leave, please tell us about what you're doing with your own website.
I'm gonna wait. I'm
Okay.
gonna wait, and then we'll come back to that.
We'll see you next Wednesday, God willing. Be blessed.
See ya.
Vonda and Jason live. See you later. Bye-bye.
Peace.